everyone, it's Jen. Welcome back to Yarn Purpose. I'm here today with a coffee catch-up. Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm here today at the end of the month with a coffee catch-up for you. I have quite a bit to catch you up on. I also have my coffee. You will notice it is not homemade coffee today. I went to Starbucks because I had a free reward on my card. And so when you have, like, if you have the Starbucks card, you guys probably know this, but if you have like the Starbucks card, like you get points or something. I don't get Starbucks that much anymore. But like you get points, and then every so many points you get a free drink. But you can get whatever you want. It doesn't matter how expensive the drink is. So when I get my reward, I always get an iced chai with an extra shot of espresso, because that extra shot is like 80 cents or something. Not that you need to hear the whole story about how the Starbucks rewards work. But anyway, I had a free one, and it was just that kind of day. So that is what I'm enjoying. I also have my water over here because I am trying to stay more hydrated. Because the reality is, with my iced coffee addiction, between the hours of 5 a.m. and 2 p.m., it's much more coffee than water in my world, and I'm trying to drink more water earlier in the day, because nobody needs the amount of coffee that I actually drink in any given day. But anyway, let's get into it. Let's stop talking about the coffee and get to the catching up, right? I have quite a bit to show you. I've got some yarn, some new designs, some whips, all kinds of stuff. So normally this is the part of the podcast where I would normally show you an FO, a finished object. But I went to set everything up and gather all my items over here when I realized that both my January socks, which I didn't quite finish in January, and my February socks, which I'm currently finishing up, are in the glove compartment of my husband's car, and his car is at his workplace 45 minutes away. So I unfortunately don't have my January socks to show you today. So to remind you, my January socks were knit out of a Nomadic yarns, and it was the Diagon Alley colorway. And what I'm doing, and I'm going to do it later in this video, is every month I'm picking a new random yarn. At the beginning of the year, I put 12 different yarns into a bag, and I'm picking one at random every month, and that's the socks that I am knitting. So both January and February ended up being Nomadic yarns, because I do have a lot of that in my stash. So the January socks are done, and the February socks, which are also Nomadic yarns, that is the Gumdrop buttons colorway. Those, I have the first sock completed, and the second sock I think I'm about halfway through the heel. But they're in my husband's car because we went to Chicago earlier this week to see the musical Dear Evan Hansen. It was amazing, but because well, it doesn't really matter if we drive or take the train. As long as I am not the driver, I am knitting. So anyway, I had been working on the socks on the way to Chicago on Tuesday, and the socks are still in the car. So anyway, I'll definitely show them to you hopefully next month. Hopefully I'll remember to get them out of the car. Anyway, so unfortunately, no real socks to show you guys today, but I am working on them. And I have a plan for the March socks. Like I said, I'm going to pick yarn here in a little bit. And actually I'm going to knit like somebody else's pattern. But since I don't have another FO to show you, and I don't have my sock in progress to show you, I will get into my other works in progress. So I can't remember if I talked about this on the last coffee catch up. I'm going to talk about it now. So you know, as a knitter and a crocheter, I get approached by a lot of people in my life to knit and crochet them things. And because this is my full-time job, I most of the time have to say no to that. Because, you know, it's just like there's only so many hours in a day someone can knit. And so usually I'm knitting for work, so I don't have a lot of time to take people up on the, will you make me this, that, or the other. But my sister, I mean, I don't know. I just have like a weak spot when it comes to my sister. I think because she probably is the one person in my life more than anybody who appreciates the hand knit stuff, which is hilarious because like when she gave a speech at my wedding, she like literally made a joke about like, don't question Jen on hand knitting socks versus buying like a 10-pack from Walmart. But anyway, my sister really does appreciate the handmade things. So my sister messaged me and she asked if I would make a like baptism or christening outfit for one of her neighbors. And I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, I got work to do. But at the same time, I was like, that is something that I've always kind of wanted to make. And so I was like, well, I think the answer is no, but let me ask some questions. Remind me how old this baby is and when would they need this thing? And so, what exactly are they looking for? So, after we went back and forth for a while, I did agree to make it. My sister is paying me in a large amount of my favorite wine plus dinner. So, but like, I feel like for my sister, I don't mind doing these kinds of things. And I do really love her neighbor. She's a very sweet lady. And so anyway, I'm working on this like baptismal, it's going to be like a sleep sack situation. So what ended up happening is my sister was like, I'm not like friends enough with her neighbor to like have her neighbor's phone number. So my sister was sort of texting back and forth with her neighbor, asking what she wanted. My sister got some inspiration photos. And then ultimately we decided that like a sleep sack would be the best because like this little guy's like kind of in between sizes. Plus like, you know, it's hard to just get baby stuff to fit. So anyway, I found a pattern on Ravelry. I've written it down here and I'll leave a link to it down below. It's by a designer from Norway and I'm going to try to pronounce this. It is the Tiriltunge newborn onesie. I'll leave a link to it down below. It is like the cutest little onesie and it comes in a variety of sizes. And so I bought that pattern and then I completely changed it. I just didn't really want to do all the math of like figuring out like all the increases and all the things. And so this pattern had enough of what I was looking for that I felt like I could sort of use it for a foundation to then like make this how I want, if that makes sense. But the onesie itself is adorable. And if I ever like one of my friends or siblings or something ever have another kid, I might actually make the onesie because it's really adorable. But anyway, so I have turned it into a sleep sack. So I actually changed. I did the cable at a slightly different rate. The pattern had the lace on both the front and the back, but I'm only doing it on the front. The pattern has buttons going all the way down the onesie, but because I'm making this into a sleep sack, I ended up just working back and forth here. So there'll be 3 buttons here because babies have giant heads, you know, so it's always good to have buttons up by the neck. So there'll be 3 little buttons here, but then I joined it in the round under like the arm and made it, I don't know if you probably can't really, you won't be able to see, but like I made it so it's like a little flap for the little buttons. And then I started knitting in the round. And so now I'm sort of coming to the bottom. Because honestly I was getting a little bored of the cable and lace because it does have to be sort of long because it's a sleep sack situation. I keep calling it a sleep sack situation. It's a sleep sack. But so now I just did a little like seed stitch here. I'm switched to stockinette and then I'm going to put some eyelet holes in, and then I cannot decide if I'm going to get a ribbon to do the like where you could bunch it at the bottom to make it a sack, or if I'm gonna crank out some I-cord. I'm currently running out of time, so I'm leaning ribbon. Plus I think it would be cute. It's for a boy, so I probably would get blue ribbon. I mean, not that it matters what color ribbon you use, but I probably would get blue for it because that's something that could easily be changed out if she has another kid or she passes it down or something like that. So anyway, that is the little sleep sack I'm working on. And then she also wants a matching like bonnet, which I have not even like looked on Ravelry or anything to figure out a pattern yet. I was on the phone with my sister and she was asking me like, do you think you'll still have time to make the bonnet? And I said, oh yeah. And then I was like, well, I did make that style of bonnet once because she wants the kind that like kind of, you know, like comes around the head. I'm like, I made it for an old coworker that was really into Dungeons and Dragons, and it had like scales on it, like a dragon. Like, obviously I wouldn't make that for that kind of event, but I'm like, oh, I've made that kind of bonnet before, and I made it look like a dragon, and my sister was disturbed, but whatever. So I'll be looking on Ravelry, I'm sure, for that style of pattern probably in the next day or two, so I can crank that out as well. So I'll definitely, it will be off to my sister's neighbor before the next coffee catch up, but I definitely will post pictures of it on Instagram, so be sure to follow me over there, Jen Lucas Designs, if you want to see the finished item. And then I didn't talk about the yarn at all. So the yarn I'm using is Knit Picks Shine Sport in white. And this is 60% Pima cotton and 40% modal. I never know how to say that. Modal, I guess. I love using this yarn for baby stuff. It's so soft. It's machine washable. So price is right. I don't like to spend a lot of money on baby stuff, to be honest. So yeah, I just got a few balls of the Knit Picks Shine Sport to do this. So that's my little baptism outfit for my sister's neighbor. It is coming out so cute. I am knitting it on a size 1 needle, even though it's sport weight. I am a loose knitter. That just seemed to give me sort of the right gauge with this yarn. I don't know, it's because it's cotton or something. Like, I needed to go way down. But it is coming out so cute. So it's taken me a while, but I should have this finished in the next couple days. So that, I think, unfortunately, is it for, yeah, that's it for whips. Because like I said, I don't have the February socks. I have set my crochet blanket aside for now because I have been working on this, and like I promised that I would have this done, so I didn't want to get distracted by the crochet blanket. So yeah, that's it for whips. So let's get into acquisitions. Okay, so let's get into acquisitions. So I recently picked up some yarn to make a friend a hat. I've been doing a lot more personal knitting lately. I have a very dear friend who knows that as a full-time knitwear designer, I don't have, you know, a lot of time for personal knitting. And she had mentioned to me that she would love for me to make her a hat someday. And so she is very knit-worthy. She's like one of my dearest friends. And so I decided that I am going to try to make her a hat for her birthday. So I went online and I ordered this yarn. I'm not 100% sure now if I'm going to use this yarn, but I'm going to show it to you anyway because I did buy it. So it is the Malabrigo Mecha. It is a pure merino superwash wool, 130 yards for 100 grams. You can see it's this beautiful skein here. I actually got 2 of them. And the colorway on this is Aniversario. So very, very pretty. And so I ordered these from Webs, and when they came, I mean, I do think that they look like the picture on the Webs website, but I think once I saw them in person, I wasn't 100% sure if this was the right color for her. I'm definitely going to keep them because I love them. I might make myself a hat out of them. I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to make her a hat out of this. But anyway, the point is that along with this, I also got, these are so cute. I've never even bought any of these before. I got, I think I'm finally here for the big pom-pom trend. Like, I've resisted, but I mean, come on. I mean, I'm slightly terrified of this thing because I don't know. Ugh. But it's just like a faux fur pom-pom that's huge. This one is Big Bad Wool brand. And I don't know what the color is on this, but they had a few different colors that you could get. But I thought if I did use this yarn, I thought that it would look really, really cute with it. And the thing about these pom-poms is there is actually a snap. So you sew the snap onto your hat, and then that way you can like take it off if you want to wash the hat. You don't want the pom-pom. So anyway, I got a pom-pom. I actually bought 2 because my friend has a 2.5-year-old, and so I did think it would be cute if I made the matching hat. So anyway, but if I don't use that Malabrigo yarn, I did get thinking this morning that I posted that video yesterday of the Burley Spun yarn from Brown Sheep Company, and I don't know, I started thinking that maybe just like a simple gray hat might be more my friend's speed. So I might just make her hat out of this. And I think that I think even with this colored pom-pom, it would still look pretty cute. So I don't know. We'll see what I decide. And whatever pattern I decide to do, I think I'm going to just stick with like a pretty basic hat pattern. I'm sure I'll just find one on Ravelry or just make it up as I go. But yeah, I do love this color, but it's like a little, I don't know, it might just be like a little too funky for my friend. I mean, my friend is funky, but I don't know. I don't know if I see her wearing a hat this color. I might need to start knitting it and see how it knits up, because if it really all blends together, like, and it's not so like wild, she might like it. I don't know, TBD. But anyway, that's it for acquisitions, I think. So moving on, I guess we're gonna just go ahead and pick my yarn for March, for my March socks. So like I was saying earlier, I put 12 skeins or balls of yarn in this bag here that I got when I went to Rhinebeck weekend. It was like a freebie bag. I shoved 12 different yarns in here at the beginning of the year, and then I've been randomly picking yarn out. The first 2 months were Nomadic yarns because there's a lot of Nomadic yarns in here. So anyway, I am going to just give this like a little bit of a shuffle here, and then I'll stick my hand in. I'm trying, as usual, I'm trying not to look, but I don't know. I don't know if my strategy this month is, if I feel like for example, like a lot of the Nomadic yarns is in these balls. So I don't know if my strategy is to like avoid picking one of those, because I already did 2 Nomadic yarns, but I guess we'll just see. Okay, so I've kind of mixed it up. So I'm just going to go ahead and stick my hand in and see what I get. Ah! Okay, I mean, I might have avoided the things that felt like those gobstopper balls, but that's okay. So anyway, here is my March yarn. This one will be fun. This is a good one for March. It is White Birch Fiber Arts, and this yarn is an 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon. There's 400 yards in this skein, and the colorway is Purple Haze. So like I've said before, I talk about these socks on every single episode, but this yarn is going to knit up similar to the other rainbow socks that I was knitting last year, the Nothing Says Screw You Like a Rainbow colorway, which was also by White Birch Fiber Arts. So it's like big chunk of blue, then a rainbow stripe. So this is the same, except instead of a big chunk of blue, it's a big chunk of purple. So I really love those socks. I wear them all the time. So I'm very excited to have a purple rainbow pair. So there's my March sock knitting for when I'm in the car. Okay, and then I guess the next thing to talk about would be work stuff. So I just have a couple of new patterns that came out this month. So I just want to quickly show you those, and then that's about it. So first up, I released a new sock pattern. I have these socks here. They're called Snapdragon. And I worked with Lisa K. Ross, who is Paper Daisy Creations on Instagram, and she organized 15 or so designers together to raise money for Down Syndrome International in February. And so the deal was that every day there was like a 15-day period, every day it was a different designer, featured designer, and on that day, that designer would give 100% of their pattern sales to Down Syndrome International. And so you didn't have to have a new pattern come out, but you could if you wanted. So I did these. I did have like about 4 of my sock patterns on sale that I included, but this was the new one. So these are Snapdragon, and the yarn here is Leading Men Fiber Arts, and the colorway is Bend and Snap, which interestingly, I put the shawl over here on purpose. So it's the same pink that's in this shawl that this is my Paulette shawl. It's also available on Ravelry. There'll be a link to it down below. But it's the same yarn. I had 2 skeins of the pink, but I only used one for the shawl, so I decided to use the other for these socks. So these socks actually are very easy. They just start with like a texture pattern at the top, and then I put the German short row heel in these. That is my current preferred heel construction for my socks. So yeah, so this is my new pattern. It's written for 5 sizes. My particular featured designer day for that thing that Lisa had organized, lots of socks knit along, we raised over $850. It was so great. And that was just on my day. Overall, so far, she's raised over $17,500 for Down Syndrome International. So it was really cool to be a part of that. And it's been fun seeing, there's people who've been knitting like all of the sock patterns from all the different designers. So it's been cool to see my socks pop up on Ravelry like so early on after the pattern came out. So those are the Snapdragon socks. I will leave a link to those below. And then the next thing is I have a new fingerless mitts pattern here. Is there an end sticking out? Oh, there is. But anyway, these are the Brunera mitts, and these are knit out of Malabrigo Rios, which it just takes 1 skein. It's the colorway Chris, which I believe is a new colorway for them. And this was part of their Malabrigo Quickies program. So every month they feature a new pattern that can be knit up quickly. And so this is mine, the Brunera mitts. So I knit these to fit me because a lot of times when I have to knit samples for fingerless mitts, like for magazines and stuff, I always have to knit the small size. And then like sometimes I get the samples back and then I can't wear them because they're too small. So because this was a self-published design, there's my end. Just tuck that in. I was able to make them to fit me, which is really great. So I'll leave a link to these down below. These don't even use, actually the socks too. It's kind of rare for me. Both these patterns don't even require a chart. The stitch patterns are so simple that I thought the chart actually just made everything more confusing. So there's no chart for either one of these patterns, but I just love the texture and with that colorway from Malabrigo, Chris. So pretty. So that's pretty much it as far as work stuff goes. Next month, I'm going to be traveling to Pittsburgh for the Pittsburgh Creative Arts Festival. Let me start that over. Next month, I'm going to be traveling to Pittsburgh for the Pittsburgh Creative Arts Festival, which formerly was called the Pittsburgh Knit and Crochet Show. So I have a bunch of classes I'm teaching there all weekend. So if you're in that area or able to travel to that area, I'll leave a link to that down below too. You should check out the website. I'm teaching a design your own shawl class, lace. I'm teaching lace. I'm teaching about slip stitches, a whole variety of things. So it's going to be a really fun weekend. So yeah, that's sort of what's going on with the work front. And I think that is about it. Yeah, so I'll be starting on those March socks probably pretty soon. So be sure to follow me over on Instagram to see those in progress. So that's it for me for today. And if you like this video, go ahead and give it that thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more videos from me, including more coffee catch-ups, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And if you like, you can turn on the notifications to be notified whenever I upload a new video. I hope that everybody has a great day and a great week, and happy knitting and crocheting, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.